hello, and welcome, Ludmilla. She is a fabulous life and relationship coach. She literally changed my life, even though she probably doesn't realize it. I'm so excited to have you on the show, just as a powerful, entrepreneur, but also, we're going to be covering a lot of life and relationship stuff, which we don't really cover on this podcast as much, but it's so important, especially since there's a lot of young women and older women who listen in. So I'm so excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me. You are such a joy. I always enjoy your energy. It's so beautiful. So
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thank you. I know. Well, it's so crazy because, we met in a women's mastermind. And I remember at first I was like, I'm not going to go to the life and relationship coaching sessions. Literally, wasn't even on my radar. And then Hillary, one of our mutual friends, she was like, no, that's the best part. And so I was like, okay, I'll call into one of them. And I was hooked. I absolutely was obsessed and was able to work through a lot of things myself that I didn't realize I had. So I'm just so excited to dive into this with you.
I'm so, this is so interesting because I think as women in business, a lot of entrepreneurs or CEOs, executives, we don't think so often of investing in exploring relationships or exploring ourselves as much as we put the attention to business, right? So I always say we grow businesses where there is a problem in a business. We figure it out. We invest. We really put the time and effort and, money into this. But when it comes to relationships and also self-development, separate from the business sometimes, right? It seems like we are playing a catch up. Right. So I have a lot of clients who are very successful in their careers or their businesses. And then at some point comes this moment when they have this awakening of, okay, this is going great and I can navigate business and I figure out money. I know how to create wealth, but I am dealing with stress or anxiety, or I'm having a really tough time in dating or in my marriage, or with family, employees, my business partner, because when we speak of relationships, it's literally relationship to everyone and everything in your life.
Yeah. No, completely. And also, I think it's just that I grew up in the boss babe era, right? So the whole thing was I'm going to be the boss babe, top person at the company. I'm going to be the CEO, all of this stuff. And we don't realize we're in our masculine energy so much. And me even understanding what the heck is masculine and feminine energy. I got it, but I didn't get it right.
Yeah. What is
just opening your eyes to that and realizing when we have been in school or in work, we're so much in that masculine lane that sometimes it takes away from what makes us so feminine and beautiful and the parts of us that make us special in comparison to guys as well.
So when we talk about feminine and masculine, right, energy, we both have, men and women have masculine and feminine energy. And I love women who can really navigate both. What does that mean? It means that as an independent woman and a human being, you want to be able to manage your life, to be able to, earn your money, to create a business or have a great career. It's all a part of being successful human being, right? I think it's getting such a bad rep to be now in a masculine energy as a woman. And I just want to say it's beautiful. I love when we can create incredible results, when we can strategize and plan and organize and just, you have to be able to function in this world. Now, what happened through all this, I would say the last 50, 60 years is we became so much, attuned to being constantly in a masculine because we came to work force and it was men's world, right? So we as women, we thought we need to be like men to compete. We have to be like men to get the promotion. We have to speak the language of men. And what happened, we became really good at this, right? We can perform amazingly. Look at me, how great I'm performing. Look at me, I create results and I'm almost like the man. But the problem is, as great as it is, we kind of lost connection to the beauty and the power of us being women and what we as women can be that men don't have access to, right? Yeah. So men and women are different in many ways. We might want the same things, but, we might think in different ways. We can feel in different ways. So I think we as women have this gift of navigating both and knowing how can we really shift between energies of masculine and feminine, and not also using this masculine, I would say wounded energy where we don't get support, where we don't ask for help, when we think we have to be perfect, when we don't express how we feel. It is okay and even more encouraged to be a powerful go-getter and an incredible leader, and also be able to tune into your wild energy, your nurturing energy, your sensual energy, right? It's all available for us. And I wish for all the women to be able to really embody both, because that's where you feel most supported. And also you don't, end up with burnout, because we are too much in this masculine. We end up burned out because we don't listen to our body. And, we are hanging by a thread, I would say, and that impacts all of our relationships.
Completely. No, I love that. And so, a lot of people don't even know what a life and relationship coach is, right? So what exactly do you do? And how did you even get into this? Like, so many people are like, how do you even become a life and relationship coach?
You know how? I will tell you, it's very easy. I needed myself decades ago, and I needed someone to guide me and teach me skills that I, haven't received in school or even from my parents. So I'm from Eastern Europe. I was born in Poland. My mom is Russian. And also, I have heritage in Ukraine. So it's a very great mix. And in our culture, my mom raised me to be ready for war. So my mom raised me to be tough, don't show emotions, don't trust people. It was a lot of strength in her eyes, and I'm very grateful for that. She really gave me the strength to make strong decisions, to be very independent, to not look to what others do, but what I want. And with that also came this lack of, how do I understand my emotions? How do I grieve? How do I know how to communicate my desires and wants without being forceful all the time? Or without people pleasing, because I was a people pleaser in my 20s. I thought I'm the good girl and let me help you, right? And I think so many women can really understand that and can find themselves in both roles of, I can be very persuasive and forceful, but then I can people please on the other side. And it's very confusing. So as a young woman, I was struggling in my relationships. I was having very hard time in my dating. I would date men who were very well educated on paper. They were like a great match, but they were not ready for a relationship. And I wanted a relationship. I wanted to be with someone and build life together. My dad died when I was 3. And because of that, I didn't have a great role model of what a healthy relationship looks like. He was great for the 3 years I had him, but then, I didn't have the example of what a healthy masculine man looks like in a relationship. So, my dating was a disaster. Let's put it that way.
Hey, I get it. I mean,
and I was like, but I'm doing so great. What's going on? And then when I was like 27, the moment came, and I don't know even from where. I was living in Belgium at that time. I moved to Belgium, and I looked at myself and said, something is wrong. And like, if I look at all my relationships, what do they have in common? Me. So what am I doing and who am I being that I'm creating the same story over and over and I'm not being chosen, right? And it was very painful, and I didn't want to repeat the same patterns. So that, even before being a coach, was like an awakening moment for me. And I took responsibility, and I really saw myself being so anxious. I was very anxious in the way that I was interacting with men, and I didn't want to do that anymore. So I explored different ways of being. I explored what I really want in a relationship and who do I want to be in a relationship, right? Because I didn't have understanding, red flags, green flags. What does it even look like?
Right.
How do you navigate conflict without, cutting somebody's, what off? I would say I was very forceful. So, that was that first period of kind of awakening, understanding, oh, there is something more here to learn. And, in my country, personal development was non-existent.
Not a thing. Yeah.
Non-existent. And in Belgium also, it wasn't very, it was not there, I would say. You would not see it around. So, but something within me told me, Ludmila, just write down all the things you want in a partner, and then you need to become that. So, I found my husband, I think 6 months later, something like that. So we got connected, and we really were very well aligned. And then the next period came when I became a mother. And the transition from a woman to a wife to a mother was very hard for me. When I became a mom, it's such an identity shift. I went through postpartum. We were in Belgium, so I didn't have a lot of family support. My husband is from US, so it was just two of us.
Yeah.
And now I'm navigating this baby. What do you do with a baby? My body looks different. I feel different. Who am I right now as a woman? Who am I right now? It was such an interesting period for me. And then when our son was getting older, he had an amazing personality, very strong-headed. Okay. And so I needed again, learn skills. How do I navigate that? So every time if I come against an obstacle or something that is frustrating or something, situations or relationships that leave me feel triggered or this is not how I want to feel, I'm always looking for solutions. So that's how coaching came to my life because I was looking for solutions. I didn't want to be a victim and blame my circumstances. I wanted to take control of how I feel. And I wanted to feel calm and joyful and deeply connected and peaceful. And I also wanted to be able to have hard conversations and, with people in a way that is constructive. I also wanted really to build a business on my own terms and not, work for somebody else. So that's how coaching came to my life. It helped me a lot. And I decided this is what I'm going to do for people because it helped me so much. It transformed me, my relationships, my life. And here we are.
No, I mean, I absolutely love that. And it's so funny. You say that you really became the person who you wanted to be with. And I feel like I'm kind of in this phase right now where I'm kind of gotten over my crazy phase, right? Like my super crazy. And don't get me wrong, I freaking loved that phase of my life, right? Like it was such a beautiful, wonderful time. But like I kept getting into relationships where everyone was so transient because I was so transient and I was chaotic. And I was like, well, that's just how I am. It's like, is it though? Like right now I'm like, I love peace. I love just like joy and not full chaos all the time. And don't get me wrong, I still got my moments and I love those moments. But so me as a person, like I am not chaotic. I have chaotic moments on occasion. It's kind of like when before I used to say I was a people pleaser. Like I am not a people pleaser. I may have some people pleasing tendencies, but that doesn't mean that that is what you are. And I had to like keep having those shifts and becoming the person who, and I feel like I'm on this journey to really becoming the person who I actually want to be for the next 10, 20 years of my life,
You know what? I always say it's not who we are. It's just our behaviors we had adapted. Like we adapted people pleasing behaviors for a reason. There's always a reason, right? If I look at my kids, they don't have to please me. My kids, the way we are raising our kids is they can be fully expressed. It doesn't mean that all behaviors are, approved of, but we can have a conversation about that. So when we talk about who I am, we really need to be careful how we describe ourselves, right? And we put labels. I'm a people pleaser. I'm avoidant. I'm anxious. It's just behaviors. And the behaviors are always a symptom and they can tell us more about what is really happening underneath there that I am having this need to people please and always say yes when I want to say no. Yeah. Or why am I avoiding this hard conversation instead of just having it? So what's really underneath there? And when we get to the root of the behavior, then we can shift it. And with every behavior you shift, there's also an identity shift, right? So you start to embody different behaviors, but you also start relating to yourself and others in a different way.
Completely. So, people pleasing, this whole concept of people pleasing, I feel like is rampant, right? Like everyone is realizing that they're a people pleaser. Why is that?
Yeah. So, it's when we come out as children to this world, depending on the situation of your parents, right? Some parents have very great relationships. Like me and my husband, for example, it was peaceful pregnancy. I was sick, but there was not a lot of stress. Yeah. So I always say your kids and you as an individual, you are already influenced with your nervous system, how your nervous system will, form from the early age, right? In the belly. So from the first conception, your nervous system is connected to your mother's nervous system. So if I'm completely stressed out all the time, guess what is happening with you in my belly, right? You already are learning patterns of stress responses or freezing or being secure and connected and calm, correct? And so then you come to this world, and now depending on your parents, if your parents are authentic individuals, if they understand themselves, if they know how to say no, if they can express their feelings and desires, if they just navigate the world in a more proactive way, then you also learn how to say no.
Mm-hmm.
Because you learn through what you are modeled. Now, a lot of us have been taught by just how our parents responded to us to be the good girl, right? So sometimes I have a lot of my clients, if you showed emotions as a child, a lot of us heard, don't be so weak.
Yep.
Or can you just walk away? Like, this is too much for me. Don't be such an emotional drama queen, or don't be. So what do we learn from an early age is I am not accepted as I am in my fullest expression.
Yeah.
And then we get compliments and we get connection for the behaviors that our parents want to see. And we need to understand that we are very dependent on our caregivers. So as a child, I'm dependent on my caregiver. If you don't provide for me, if you don't feed me, if you don't love me, my survival is at threat right now.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what I'm going to do? I'm wired for connection and safety. So I will become whoever you need me to become. So you love me and you keep me safe.
Yeah. And that's so interesting because I know for me growing up, right, like I was always told, like, don't cry, be strong. And I literally used to pride myself on the fact that I didn't cry. Like, I was like, I don't cry. Like, no, I'm not a crier. And then suddenly, like, stuff started happening in my life, and I just like opened up the floodgates, and I'm like, I love crying. It's like a release, right? But I will say, you know, it did help create a lot of resiliency, right? Like, so I feel like I'm a very like tough person, and I can deal with a lot of things, but it also didn't quite like create that nurturing environment where it does give you the space to express yourself and be okay with your emotions. So I know for me, like I've been really working through like, okay, I have these emotions. That's okay. That is a normal human emotion that you're supposed to have. And if you're having it, there's probably something happening. So like, let's like go a little deeper and understand what's happening underneath like the surface.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I will tell you almost all high achievers overboard, if you would ask them, you know, people who are 1%, people you look up to and you want to be like them, or they inspire you. Most of them, not everybody, right? Because there are people, I think around 50% grow up in secure families. But I think a lot of high achievers come from, you know, backgrounds where we had to kind of just be logical, just produce, keep moving forward, have good grades, show me how great you do. You have to be at the top of the class. And we got some validation for that. So that's why we are so successful. That's why we are resilient. Don't feel. So nothing wrong with this. But now as an adult, you can just see how that way of growing up impacted different parts of your life and how you see yourself. Because I always say, you know, how you show up in all type of relationships comes from how do I see myself first, and how do I relate to myself. And so, you know, the not cry, don't cry, you know, you become emotionally unavailable on some level. And then, for example, you go out to date just for you to all this emotionally unavailable man. You're like, okay, over here. What?
Like, crazy how that works out.
They're not ready to commit. I wonder why. They're not available. Wonder why. Well, there are parts of you that are not available as well, right? So how comfortable we are being vulnerable with ourselves first. How can I witness myself? As you say, when I cried, how can I hold space for myself? It's something you need to learn how to even embody and hold presence for that, because nobody did that for you. If our parents, like my mom was like, hey, just get over this. Everything is great. You have food on the table. Thank you, mom. But then we didn't learn how to be held in a space where we can be in our fullest expression of the, you know, tears and anger and frustration and annoyance or grief. And then also happiness, you know, the happiness and the fulfillment and joy is always so much more welcome because it feels so much more pleasant, right? But it's still the same coin. So like you have two sides of the coin, right? Like it's a day and a night, and you have the emotions of, you know, people call it negative emotions. I just call it, you are having a human experience. So, you know, you can be resilient. You can create a lot of wealth. Now, how are your relationships? How is your health? How are you on the anxiety, the stress level, would you say, right? Because we can create a lot of wealth, by pushing through and truly disregarding our body and how we feel until something forces us to stop.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I've been like playing around with that so much. It's like, how about we don't get to the point of like breaking, right? Like,
Yes.
can we like not have something crazy happen and still like want to improve ourselves and want to change and want to be better versus waiting for like someone to die or for you to be in the hospital or for,
Or getting cancer.
Yeah.
Or getting cancer, or your marriage falling apart, or exactly as I say, going for dating, or having a toxic business partner. Because if I'm emotionally available, I cannot see the red flags.
Mhm.
Red flag walking in some ways, right? Nothing bad, but like I have some behaviors when I don't see things because I don't want to look at them. So then I go into the business with someone, and guess what? They just mirror some things to me.
Yeah.
But I'm avoiding them. So I think being proactive right now, I really try to talk about this more, because you don't wait to the point where, you are falling apart completely, where you are on the floor crying, right? When it's really bad. Get proactive and ask yourself, how do I want to feel in my career, my business? How do I want to feel my friendships? How do I want to feel with my parents, the relationship with my parents? How do I want to feel in my most intimate relationships? And if it's not desirable, explore it. And how do I want to feel, myself when I wake up in the morning? Do I want to wake up anxious every day and completely overwhelmed and stressed? Or how can we do this? How can I still achieve what I want, but without sacrificing my mental, emotional health and what comes with that?
Completely. And, I do want to still give a lot of like grace to our parents, right? Like anyone's parents, because like I look at my parents, they grew up in war, right? Like they grew up and they like went through things that I will never, ever, ever experience or understand. And that's like why they like, told us to be strong, because they had to be strong. And that was the only thing that got them through. Think especially, you were in Eastern Europe. My family was in Angola and West Africa. It was a crazy time, right? And I think especially in those environments, like they don't really believe in self-development and therapy and all of that stuff. So at all.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But it's still just so interesting, because I wonder like how I'm going to impact like my future kids, right? Like it's just like that awareness. It's like, how do I keep improving and how do I watch out for the signs, right? Before it gets to chaos, especially if let's say someone might be pregnant or someone's thinking of starting a family. Like what are things that they can do proactively to kind of get ahead of that, right?
Well, a lot. And I will say, if I knew of coaching like before, I would do it, because I say with every life transitions, I think when you look at tribes, we used to have a lot of, ceremonies and I forget the word, where there is a specific event where we like transition you, right? From a boy to a man, from a girl, right? When you transition, we don't have those, rituals in a western world. We don't really have rituals of transitions, and I think it's very, very important. And I had a couple, they were getting, and because I'm already a mother, so I understand what it is. I had a couple, she was pregnant, and they just wanted to talk through, and I said, let's talk through things that you will miss from, because now again it's like new chapter and we're closing the old chapter, meaning it was just two of you. What will you miss? What do we need to grieve from the old chapter of just two of you? And then what can we invite in this new chapter? Because sometimes we like shift without even thinking, what's the transition? How different it will be for us, right? And so it was beautiful. And I think we need those bringing back the rituals of how can we help each other transition and bring wisdom to it, because it doesn't happen like that. Like,
yeah.
You talk to mothers, a lot of mothers are struggling with it. And so when you say, what can people do? I will say that if you ever plan kids or even getting married, work on yourself. What it means, you can say like, I'm doing amazing. Look at my friendships. Great. But how do you navigate conflict? Like really watch yourself. How do you deal with anger? Do you suppress it? Do you explode? Right? Really knowing your triggers, understanding what triggers me, what puts me in a defensive state or what puts me in a shutdown. What is my stress level? How do I deal with stress, right? How do I deal in life with things that don't go well? Because I will tell you, when we like to control, right, as high achievers, when you get to the point of having kids, good luck with that. You have expectations and you can, you still have structure. But let me tell you, the kids don't tell you, I'm going to be sick tomorrow. Now you had all this plan for what you're going to do for work. And guess what? Now your child doesn't sleep at night, is sick. Now your energy level goes down. And guess what happens? Now you are becoming more irritable if you don't have coping strategies or if you don't have enough support. So I would say, number one, really exploring yourself. How great are you with boundaries?
Yeah.
Right? With your family, with your friends, because let me tell you, people want to have a say in everything in your business, even if they don't have a business. Let me tell you what you should do. So with every transition, how is your health, physical health? Do you have routines that support your well-being? Because I'll tell you, you add children to your life, you need to be able to stay energetically on the level that you can thrive, not only survive.
Yeah.
Some months might feel like survival, right? Some can feel, because sometimes, as I say, you can't control things, but being proactive, right? And those are the things that I see with people, especially in relationships, that things start going really bad. Conversations about money, conversations about children, conversations about what do we say yes and no to.
Yeah.
Conversation about being unorganized, like really, how organized am I? How well do I work with myself? How is the person that I'm dating or maybe my employee? Like being just very aware of your own patterns, your own triggers, your own strengths and weaknesses. What can you work on? What is something that you don't seem ever to be changing?
Mm-hmm.
And really working on it before you even, want to have kids, let's say, if that's where you are going, right? I said, do the work before. And secondly, get support.
Yeah. Well, and so there's a couple of things there. So it's like, even when I think about the transition from college to being like a woman in the workforce, I feel like there's zero support for like people, because that's such a transitional phase of everyone's life. And I just remember going through it and looking around at everyone. I was like, "Are you struggling too?" Because I'm like this is different.
Yeah. And I think this is what you're saying. We think we are alone. We think like, oh, we cannot admit I'm having a hard time because I'm such a smart person. I can figure it out. Okay, I'm a smart person, but if I have a toothache, I'm not going to try to pull it out by myself. I will go and see someone,
Yeah.
And that's number one. So I say, have somebody professionally helping you, but also have women or men around you, people around you that are meaning on the same journey of, I want to be self-aware, I want to be growing, and I am not afraid to admit when I'm having a hard time. Yeah. I literally teach my clients to reach out to have like their network of people and say, this is what I'm going through right now. And if I call you, I need you to tell me exactly this.
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes depending, sick parents or transition in work, or you lost a project, whatever it is.
Or going through a breakup.
Going through a breakup. It's like, it's hard. Or something is happening in your marriage. And it's like, oh, look at this. There's energy like, yes, it's horrible. And I'm like, I know. And I will tell you, when you get people, but this is where we just have to be a little bit mindful. When I say get support of people that are aware, because if you get advice from people that are struggling in dating, struggling in business, struggling in marriage, or complain about being a parent or complaining about employees, you do not want advice from these people.
Yep.
Right. So this is just being mindful of, where do I get my support and advice from? Because if sometimes, if somebody, let's say, is single, why are you asking them about how to have a great marriage?
Right.
And if you want to make 7-8 figures in your business, go to people that are already doing that.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of asking people who are just starting at from 0 to 100,000. So just being really mindful, but having the support is really foundational, because I feel as high achievers, we are under-supported.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Under-supported. Mm-hmm. And people don't know how to support us, because we don't even know how can I be supported? Like, I had to figure out everything on my own. So what would feel nurturing to me?
Yeah.
What would feel really good to my soul, right? What would make me happy, right? And so when you start going through the self-exploration journey, then you can share it with the friends around you and say, hey, if this is what's happening in my life, this is what I need from it. Exactly this. Are you available for this type of a friendship? I actually have those conversations with all my friends. This is what I require.
Yeah.
Are you available or not? And so no judgment, but the more clear you are, because before when I was younger, I would always be the giver. I will give, I will support. And then at some point I had to realize I love to give, but I also love to receive.
100%. Well, and I feel like as women, it's so easy for us to just want to give, but it's like we have to take care of ourselves first. And I know for me, like this year, I've been on a big like boundary setting like tyrant, right? Like, and I love it. I'm like, wow, this is so nice. I'm just like, and it's no one. Literally, it's not like people don't like you or like, oh, you're not going to get clients or your parents are going to say something. Like literally, I remember so my phone is permanently on do not disturb right now. Like, I'm like, I don't want any notifications. I don't need it. And I realized like it's been like over a month or so now. And I'm like, oh, this is great. And it's so funny. I turned it off of do not disturb once and had just like a flood of messages. And it was like instant anxiety. And it's so crazy because we just like normalize ourselves to our phones and to everyone having constant access to us at every single point in time. And like, the world has never been like that. Like, that's not how we used to function. You couldn't just pick up a phone and call someone, right? Like years and years and years ago. It's just this new construct that we've created. But it's like so important to put those boundaries because you need to take care of yourself first so that you can give more to others later.
Well, you need to take care of yourself first so you feel great.
That too. Yeah.
Before thinking of other people, like community is very important, like, right? But we do it because we deserve. And this is interesting when you say, the flood came over you, right? Of this feeling of anxiety. And I say, we so much normalized that feeling alive means feeling constantly anxious and constantly stressed and constantly busy. And people tell me, I'm so busy, I'm doing like, that's not impressive.
Yeah.
But we normalize to be in fight, flight constantly, right? And so if I ask you what would feel good to you, many people don't even know. I don't know. What does that even mean to feel good? Right. Present? I don't know what that means to be present. So as you say, first of all, I need to take care of me because I deserve to have a fabulous, luxurious, delicious experience being my best self.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And then when I'm in this space energetically, guess what? Everybody's benefiting, right? But I'm doing it because I'm here for a reason and I deserve to feel good. I deserve to wake up and be like, damn, my life is amazing.
Yeah, no, and it's so interesting that it's almost like we look down upon feeling good, right? We're like, oh, that's lazy or that's selfish. And it's like, how did that become the narrative?
But I think it's also, because we've lived around different cultures, I think it's also depending on the culture where you live and how you grow up and what is the norm of a society depending on the culture, right? So in different countries in Europe, right, where I lived and you explored, there is this, I work because I like to live, right?
Yes.
Different parts of the world is I live so I can work.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very different approach of what we value. And what I see a lot is we can value creating the wealth legacy, but we sacrifice the relationship and love legacy going there. And even like mental well-being, right?
Yeah.
And so I think we are in a transition right now. I think more and more people are waking up to, do I really want to feel this way every single day when I never feel present, where I never feel connected? When I feel lonely and I'm, constant cortisol and I think more and more people are realizing that there is another way, that I can still create what I desire, in my wealth legacy, let's say, but there is a different way to do it.
Yeah, and I think that's why I'm always so drawn to going back to Europe. Like, I'm always like, I need to go to Italy or I need to go to Spain or Greece because it's just such a different culture there. And it gives me, because I can get very like, I am working, I'm getting this done, I'm striving. Yeah. And then I need a release. And my release is, that's why I travel so much too, is like, I just like to bounce and I like to just not think about any of it and not work and just, take off all of that energy. But it's also like you can still bring it into your life on a day-to-day basis, right? Like it's not, you don't have to just escape. You can create that balance within your life and know that there are seasons, right?
Yes, seasons. Listen, I don't say balance. You do the same amount of parenting and work and friendships, and it's that's not existent, honestly. Just an example, we have 2 kids, 12 and 7, and our 12-year-old has been sick for 5 weeks. He was 4 weeks out of school. So imagine what's the balance there? Like, there's a lot of fires, really taking care of some serious, challenges over there and trying to figure it out. You have your priorities shifted immediately. So, you just have to be aware of, this is my plan for life. This is how I want to look like. And I need to understand that there will be flip the script. I will have to reschedule things. I will have to reprioritize things sometimes. And now the question comes, how great am I with my nervous system and with my resilience to adapt? Yeah. Right? So you don't have to bounce. What you can do is between your calls or at the end of the evening, you can do a dance party for 5-10 minutes to really get the energy going and moving through your body, right? You can do some breath work. You can go to yoga. You can just listen to beautiful music and feel sun on your skin. And that's also regulating. So what are the ways that you can support your nervous system back to connection and safety and presence when you have days or season when, there is a lot of stress or you just need to be mobilized more. And that's kind of normal, right? It's not that we don't do the stressful things or we don't do what we don't want to do, but how can we bring more, let's say, regulating our nervous system, checking in what we need on a daily basis, even if it's in small doses.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I find myself constantly trying to surround myself with people who are doing big, amazing things, but they're not stressed out all the time, right? They are able to take the weekend off. They're able to take the week off if they want. They're able to spend time with their family. And that's why I say it's, everyone's going to have an opinion. Like, let's say it's business. Sure. There's some people that are going to say building a business is really hard and tough and you're going to go through the dirt. And yes, you are, but there are also people doing it in a different way where it doesn't feel like that. Right.
Yeah. And I will tell you, people don't realize, if I would ask you, where do you have your most creative ideas? Where do you come up with new things and you have the energy that brings a lot of fire in you? It's not where you work hard. Mm-hmm. It's when you are playful, relaxed, and creative in your regular life.
Completely.
Right? Why? Because you create an expansion and there is no less pressure. So I say the more pleasure you can bring into your life on daily and more playfulness, guess what? It not only serves you and your well-being, but also your business, your relationship, everything. And pleasure can look like,
drinking a glass of wine.
No, this is water.
Oh, it's water? I didn't even notice. I love it.
This is our glass from our wedding.
Oh.
What can I do that makes me feel luxurious and
yes,
a regular glass? Perfect. This is it, right? So that's what I say. Pleasure can come in so many different small experiences, bigger experiences. How can you be playful today? How can you play as a kid? Right? I love to dance. So I switch on music on daily and I dance. Sometimes it's more of a emotional dance and sometimes it's very, very playful. But, if you ask yourself, what did I used to do as a kid? What did I enjoy as a kid? Was it drawing? Was it painting? Was it singing?
Yeah.
Okay, what can I explore on a daily basis to have that break in between the work and create more spaciousness for that, right? And that also increases the creativity in the business.
And I think that's what drove me insane in corporate America. It's you don't have the space to do that. So I'm a big I literally every single day in the middle of the day, Key and I take like an hour and a half long walk. We're outside. It's blue skies. I'm like, yes, this is me re-energizing. But it's like some time just away, or even sometimes like literally, I was telling my friend on Saturday, I did nothing. It was great. It was phenomenal. I literally sat on the couch. I did absolutely nothing. I watched some reality TV or listened to like some reality TV podcasts, but just like let my brain decompress and just be in silence for a little as well. And it's crazy because after that, I was like, oh, okay, I got all these, like, let's go. I've got energy. I've got things I want to do. Like, let's push it. But it's like, we get so like in the work and in the dry grind, doing. We don't take and I think that's also why people get like stuck in the rat race, right? It's because you're just doing. You haven't taken the time to sit back and be like, am I even going in the right direction?
And why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Why am I doing it? Because all my clients are very successful. So, we were taught, go after this. And then you have the house. Let's say you have the partner. If you're single, you have the money, you can travel, right? You look great, you take care of yourself, right? And then you wake up, it's like, I have the house, the kids, whatever that is. Still trying to catch something, still running after something. And what is that? Why am I even doing this? Why am I not questioning? I always say question everything. Literally, the more you question, guess what? You can have answers to things and you can change ideas about what you believe and what life should be. Question. I tell my kids, I tell you something, question me. Don't take whatever society tells you, whatever your parents told you, just as a given, right? So when you ask yourself the questions that nobody would ask you, then you can have an answer and say, wow, I don't really want to be in this rat race. Or I will, but maybe I need to reframe how it looks like for me. Mm-hmm. Maybe I need more boundaries at work, right? I still maybe enjoy this and I enjoy the growth in this way, but maybe I need more boundaries set at work or with my employees if I'm the business owner.
Yeah. And so I guess, especially for people who are like high achievers, how do you keep bringing in the ambition, right? Because like, for example, people could tell me right now, it's like, well, you got it. You got you have everything. Or, you look at some other super high achievers and they're still going after it. So like, how do you bring in that ambition when you kind of quote unquote got it? Like, I feel like for me, it's like I always have, so there's always another goal. Like there's always something else to work towards. And I feel like as humans, we have this desire to keep growing, but like, I guess when is enough?
I don't think this is a question where is enough. So mm-hmm. Another thing I teach is ask high quality questions.
Okay. Yeah.
If you ask, the question will define the answer, and depending on the answer, you will have the quality of your life, right? So I would not ask when is enough. Mm-hmm. I would ask, who do I want to be in this season, right? So for example, if you are single and you are dating, right now, maybe in this season, you want to embody and become a woman who can be very powerful and still wants to be taken care of and still wants to be courted and still wants to be emotionally open and vulnerable and take the chance to find a partner and invite him into her life. Okay, let's say you go through this season and then you are now in the season of getting married or just traveling the world. Perfect. What do I want to embody in this season? Right? To embody someone who is focusing now on tripling her business and maybe traveling more, traveling less. Who do you want to become? Because when we look at the goals, it's not the goal per se, but who do you become in the process? Mm-hmm. When you look who you were as a corporate person is very different than who you were as a beginner business owner.
Yeah.
Who you are right now is very different who you were when you started your business, right? So it's like a self-evolution of self-identity. It's not that it's not enough. You are always enough. Your enoughness is not connected, your self-worth, your enoughness is not connected to what you do, right? It's the question of who do I want to be in this season? And if I want to be, for example, a woman who is married or is dating or has 2 kids or makes $1 million, $2 million, $3 million a year, perfect. Who do I need to embody? How do I embody her? So this is the goal and this is me here. What's the missing space over here? What happens here? Right? Do I need to learn new skills? Do I need to find how I can work less maybe and make more? Or do I need to learn how to be courageous with telling men how I feel, fighting them in? So I think it's all about embodiment and really the identity shifting and transitioning. And so I don't think it's ever done. I would say different, experiences, we always grow, but it's not because it's not enough. I think if we chase from this is what I have right now is not enough, it will always be urgent, anxious, and will feel very bad. If you decide to commit to this goal because I am happy what I have right now and how it feels right now, but imagine if it would be fun. Right?
Yeah.
To triple the business, or imagine it would be fun to find my life partner, or imagine it would be fun to reconnect in my marriage on deep, deep level. Imagine it would be fun to have employees that are all aligned with our core values.
Yeah.
Right. And then as you are becoming that person, that's where you grow. So it's never make a decision from, this is, for some people it works. Some people, when depending on your personality as well and how you approach yourself. Some people think, okay, I'm super fat, I hate how I look, and it pushes them. Some people, that's their pusher, right? And that works. But that's what I say. You need to become an expert in yourself and know what motivates you.
Yeah.
Because for some people, beating the crap of themselves works. Okay? Now I have a question. If you get to that goal, do you still beat the crap of yourself or not?
Right. Exactly.
That's the.
Well, and I think there's a lot of things that work, but it's not necessarily what you need, right? Like it's not necessarily what's the most healthy, like you're not creating the most healthy relationship with whatever that issue is, right? So I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of things that work, right? Like corporate punishment worked for a while. Like, does that mean we should do it? No.
But you know what? I would really question that if it works, because if you look at depending on the character of a person and the personality.
Yeah.
I know with my older son, if I would use physical punishment, if I would do that with him, it would never work. It would backfire because he's a fighter and he came to this world as a fighter. He's like me. So if you would try to control me from a young age, guess what? I'm going to fight you.
Yeah.
So now we are both exploding. And so let's say if you would take a belt to me, I would look at you and say, that's all what you have?
Yeah.
What do you do? Be more and more intense with the punishment, right? For some people, and kids, it would work because they will get scared. But then if I scare the crap out of you, guess what? Parts of you that are authentic you are going to go dormant and is going to show up in anxiety or avoidance or other different, behaviors, right? So what I see in coaching with my clients is the more you can bring the compassionate curiosity and love for whatever is happening within you, right? If there is this critical voice that says that's not enough, beating the crap out of this doesn't really work very often.
Yeah.
But what works is the compassion of, I hear you and I understand what is happening. I know where you're coming from, and that's what I find in relationships. The more curiosity, confidence, clarity, presence, connection you can bring into the relationship with yourself and other people, the more you have the chance to really grow through it, Yeah.
No, I love this. Literally, I feel like we could talk for hours and hours. We're going to have to do like a part 2.
I know, because this is the thing, some clients hire me. I have clients who hire me. They say, my relationship with my mother isn't great. Like I need to figure out how not to be constantly aggravated by her, right? Or by my father, whatever that is. In some situations, if your parent is open to reconciliation, amazing, right? Because there is this repair that happens on both sides.
Yeah.
Some people don't have that opportunity because the parents are gone, or just the parent is so unaware that they will come, if you start this conversation, it will be a lot of defensiveness, right? Like, I was the best parent for you, and what are you talking about, and all the things. But there is a lot of grief with whatever sessions I do. There is a grief of my self-identity from the past, or there is a grief from the parent that, is not here, or there is a grief of a connection that I was looking for and is not available in the breakup, right? Or there's a grief, something happened in the business. And so, I always say love and grief are very interconnected, right? Because if I don't have the feelings of love for you or kindness and thoughtfulness, I won't be grieving you either.
Yeah.
Right. I won't be grieving the situation or what I could have become. And so I believe like coaching for me is so valuable. It's literally priceless. Because it connects you to so many parts of you haven't explored yet.
Yeah.
Right. And so like I have clients who really reconcile their relationships with their mothers, where they're like, I wanted her to move away, far, far away. And now she bought a house next to me. Right? or there are people who go through the grief and self-repair without the parent. And then they decide, okay, there are boundaries.
Yeah.
Right. There are boundaries that we can only speak on this or that. So, and I just think no matter how successful we are, we do want relationships. We are human beings that we are designed to connect. We are designed to have community. And I think if you can really understand how to create thriving relationships so that are deeply connected, your life quality just expands.
Yeah.
It goes to the next level. So if you are growing a business or your career, I would advise everyone to take a chance and really dive into coaching or get some support with whatever you are going through. Or whatever you desire, this is my desire and I'm here. How do I get over here? Help me. What's the missing link? And I say the embodiment together with the mindset.
I love this. I love this. Well, I want to ask you the 3 final interview questions that I ask every single person on the show. So the first one is, what does your ideal perfect day look like?
My ideal perfect day?
Yeah.
I will tell you. I love to wake up in the morning when there is no rush. And we have our bedroom looks out to the swimming pool and we have a lot of trees outside. And I just turn around and my husband is there. He always hugs me in the morning when we wake up. It's like this routine that he always holds me for 10 minutes. And we just wake up slowly and we have time together to connect before the kids start running around. And just having that time in the morning and then, taking in, I really love to be present to even now when we are talking, I see the trees moving with the wind. It's very peaceful. Mm-hmm. I love nature. It makes me feel very deeply connected to myself. And then just getting the kids together, making breakfast together, having time at the table as a family. We love it. We play sometimes some card games or some other family games that we enjoy. And we also really love spending time outside. So going biking or going hiking, if I could, maybe in the future, we would live somewhere in the mountains where we could hike.
That's why I moved back to Colorado.
I'm telling you, this is something we miss. We are in Florida, so there's a lot of water and beautiful beaches. We love hiking. So being outdoors together and having a beautiful meal again, and just time to laugh, it's simple. For me, it's not this extraordinary things. For me, it's really the time to be deeply connected and be outdoors and be active with my family. And then, doing some work with my amazing clients that I love. I just love seeing the transformation and how women can feel very empowered in themselves, in their choices. And then, ending the night also again, or on the couch with my husband and the kids, listening. We listen to different types of music, European, just very international. And sometimes we sing together. And again, I love to have homemade meals, when we can just have some candles on, beautiful music. And then, spending evening when the kids go to bed, spending some time with my husband again and having some fun together.
Yeah.
We love to travel. So, we go to Europe, we visit the places that we know and we explore the new ones. So everything that has to do with, new experiences, the experiences that we enjoy daily, but also new experiences. Yeah.
I love that. Okay. Question number 2 is, what is your mantra?
My mantra?
Yeah. Basically like a saying that you say to yourself all the time, like something that you kind of just go by.
I don't know if I say it all the time, but what came immediately when you asked me was, you are the solution to everything you desire in life.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, people don't realize is like they have a lot of the answers inside of them. They just don't know how to like tap into it sometimes.
Well, because you have to dismantle everything that is not yours. So when you say, I want to become this person, you've always been that person before the world got hands on you. So I say, dismantle everything that never belonged to you. And then there you are. And that's where you connect to your intuition and the gut and your wisdom. And that's what I also love about coaching, because it really helps you to get there. I don't want my clients to be dependent on me for life, right? I want them to really have this really deep connection to themselves and knowing what is right for me.
Yeah. Love that. Okay. And question number 3, what does wealth mean to you?
Wealth to mean, you know what it means to me? It means to me that I wake up in the morning and I am truly joyful with the choices and the people around me. That's wealth. And yes, it includes the financial stability and the wealth that we are building, but it also means to me having people around me that get me, people that care for me, that are really thoughtful and mindful and know me, you know? And I think if we can have it all, that's what I would say, is living the life by your own design. But without the focus on just one part, but how can I really have a holistic life experience? And for me, wealth is not only financial, but also in relationships, in how I feel on daily in my life. And I don't say there are no challenges, but overall, how do I feel? If I die tomorrow, honestly, I was on a plane one time and it started shaking. And I thought to myself, if I would die today, would I be happy?
Yeah.
And for me, the answer was yes, because I've been working on building the life that I love. Yeah. I'm in my passion when I work. I really, really take time for my relationships, and I'm very mindful, both with my husband, our sons, and then, family and friends. And, there is always more that we can create and we can become, but it's good. Yeah.
No, I literally always say that. Well, not always, because I try not to talk about death too much, but I always say that, if I were to die tomorrow, I've lived an amazing life, in just so many different ways, from the connections that I've made, the people I've impacted, the things I've done, the things I've seen. It's just and my big thing is keep continuing to live a life in the way that, if you were to die tomorrow, would you be happy with the way that you lived,
That's the thing. That's and we can always improve and we can always grow. We can always bring more of joy and happiness and people and love and growth and money, every day. And when you wake up in the morning, are you aligned with who you are today and what you are doing today with the people around you?
Completely. Well, Ludmilla, if anyone wanted to get in contact with you, maybe they wanted to do a coaching session, how can they reach out to you?
Well, I don't know if we post the link here. We can maybe post the link under the recording.
Yes.
And then you can also find me on LinkedIn, Ludmilla Woodruff, on Instagram and Facebook, and there is my website. So I think we can share the link as well.
Perfect. Yeah, I will put the link in the show notes and then also in the YouTube video in the caption. So no worries.
That was fun.
No, this was so much fun. Literally, I've been so giddy, so excited for this call.
Oh, me too. Because I just want you to all know, right, to all the high achieving women, embrace your masculine and embrace your feminine. Be the duality, and you have so many flavors and colors to who you are as a woman. Don't let anybody define you and tell you who you can or cannot be.
Love that. Well, thank you so much, Ludmilla. I know people are going to get so much out of this call, and I'm so excited. Thank you so much for listening to Wonderlust Wealth Show. Now, don't forget to follow the podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you love this episode, it would literally mean the world to me if you shared this with a friend or a family member, or literally anyone off of the street. Right now, go ahead, share it so you don't forget, or post it on social media and make sure to tag me. I love seeing what you're listening in on and what you resonated with, and I'm just so freaking thankful for you. I'm so freaking excited for you. I love you, and don't forget, life really doesn't have to be hard.